We are going to call the Maple Heights Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. We're here at the Administration Building, 5740 Long Avenue. Our starting time today will be 6 p.m. Board President will be behind us a few minutes. I will be filling in for him in the interim. Mr. Scott, can we have a roll call of members, please?
I'll do the roll call. Mr. Blackwell?
Here.
Ms. Granger? Ms. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Mr. Garth?
My apologies, Mr. Friedrich.
That's okay.
May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we'll have the adoption of the official agenda. Is there a motion? We have a second.
Second.
The motion has been moved by Mrs. Moore and seconded by Mr. Blackwell.
Mr. Brown?
And roll call. Yeah. Roll call.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Ms. Granger? Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Next, the reading, approval, and signing of the minutes, July 2022. Those dates are as follows: July 6th, special meeting; July 18th, regular meeting; July 21st, a special meeting; July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th for our special meeting / our retreat. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Blackwell, seconded by Mrs. Moore, and we can have a roll call.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we will turn the floor over for our financial report. Mr. Friedrich.
I'd like to discuss before we continue. One, in the recommendation of the auditors that we do an adjustment of $8,169.88 to clear up the bank rec. It's been an ongoing issue. This will clear it up and get us started fresh. And then we also have the adoption of the permanent appropriations. Now these, I can make adjustments to this throughout the year when needed. It was prepared by Mr. Scott, and I looked over the numbers yesterday and today, and it looks good to me. Wages did go up 2.5%, plus the average step increase of 2%. Fringe benefits went up 8%, and workers' comp went up 4.5%. Purchase services increased 3%, except in special ed where we had a 10% increase, and bus fuel, we felt we needed a 14% increase. That would be it. So I'd like the board to approve financial report, section 6, items A1 through 7. I'm sorry, 1 through 6. I apologize for that.
Our treasurer, Mr. Friedrich, is asking the board for approval for recommendations under 6A, items 1 through 6. Is there a motion? And second,
Second.
and roll call, please.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Motion carries. Next, a report from our superintendent, Dr. Keenan.
My report this evening, I'll start with 7A1, one student for your consideration for home instruction. Under 7A2, before we do the principal presentations, I just want to, since this is the first meeting we've had since the start of the school year, I just like to make a few comments. Number one, it's been a pleasure to have Mr. Friedrich here as our treasurer the past 2 days. It's nice to see somebody that's going to be stable in the district, and excited to have him working in the district. So thank you, board, and thank you, Mr. Friedrich, for working with us. Number two, I just want to commend our teaching staff, our support staff, and our administrators who are here this evening. The start of this school year has been, to me, astounding. Over the past 2 years, with all the difficulties that we've seen, we're anticipating a lot of things that could have happened and may have happened, and things that happened in the past that we thought might happen. And everyone's just done an outstanding job, taking this in stride, supporting our students, supporting our families, and getting around to the schools and just seeing the kids in school and being dedicated to learning and happy to be there is just exciting. So I just want to commend our entire staff for the start of the school year. It's been amazing. And that starts with our board setting some direction of expectations. And so this evening, our principals will talk a little bit about not the district level expectations, but the building level expectations. As I mentioned to the board prior, the principal came up with the idea to kind of do a group presentation instead of doing each building, go over each of the goals multiple times. We'll talk about the goals, and then buildings will discuss what they're doing for each goal. They'll give you the opportunity to ask questions and interact with them throughout this presentation. But again, they were ready the first night when we weren't able to meet, and they all look fantastic. They still look fantastic tonight. And so I'd like to welcome our administrators to come up and do 7A2, the principal's presentations.
I know everyone behind us might not be able to see, but we have our presentation up on the screen. I'm only here for a second, so I'm going to call up everybody because we're all doing this together. I'm just up first. Okay. So again, to the Board of Education, tonight we have a presentation for you. Thank you, Dr. Keenan, for having us here. And this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. Usually we sit through and everybody get up and go through their spiel. But one thing I would like to say is for some reason, this year is different. The entire administrative team worked together as a team, and we're able to speak and talk each other's language. We have 3 new administrators, and we've been working really well with them. Myself, Dr. Pams, and Ms. Beth Sutter have been working to make sure that they feel welcome here. Second, that they're able to have all the support that they need from any of us. Some of them, this is their first year being a principal, so we wanted to make sure that everything worked well, and this is evidence of working well together. Now, Dr. Keenan mentioned that last time we were all dressed alike. The middle school team, they still have on. They have on what we all had on. And so we just wanted to show solidarity, and it just feels different. We text each other and we call each other, and that's not just the principals, but that's assistants as well, and deans. So what we're going to do tonight is go over our building goals, which are all based off the district goals, which all align with everything that the board have tasked us with doing. So we have, hold on, I want to get this a little bit bigger for you. Come on, present. There we go. Okay, so what we have here, as you can see up on the board, we have, it's going to be broken down by our building goals and our 3 overarching themes. So we have for them diversity, equity, and inclusion, which our elementary campus will be presenting for all buildings. And then we have our communication, family, and engagement, which the middle school will be presenting for all buildings, and then academics, which the high school and ECAC will tag team and present them for all buildings. And when I say all buildings, I mean that the elementary campus is going to come up and talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion for grades K through 12. Okay. And then the middle school will do the same for communications and family engagement. And then the high school will bring up the high school, and ECAC will bring up the rear with academics. And then after that, we'll take questions. And then if you have any questions, though, don't ask me about the elementary school. You will be able to ask the actual principals of those buildings if you have specific questions. The good thing is, like I said, a lot of it aligns together because we work together on these goals, and what the district saw fit for us to do, we worked in collaboration to make sure that we have that happening. So I'm just here tonight to talk about the collaboration part, and that's actually what we did. And we have this quote here that says, "It is the long history of humankind and animal kind too, that those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed." And we see that happening with us thus far. We're only midway through the first quarter, but we're looking for bigger and better things. So elementary campus, if you would come on up and get ready to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. Mr. Allen, see.
Oh, okay. I'll tell. Okay, good evening. I'm Dr. Hughley. This is Don Bestetter. Mr. Ahmad Allen, he had family illness, so he won't be joining us. I thought she was gonna stand next to me because I get nervous talking in front of people, and she stood all the way over there. That's okay, but we together. So I'm gonna talk about, we're gonna both talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm gonna focus on curriculum and curriculum inventory, DEI training, and expanded DEI focus. So with the curriculum inventory, what we decided as a community of schools is that we will look at our curriculum and look at our books that are in our libraries and discard all of the obsolete titles so that we can be more culturally relevant, so that our students will have stories that look like them and speak to them, that they will have curriculum that they can relate to. And we also want to make sure that it's aligned to our standards. The last part of that is bringing in the curriculum that's culturally relevant also means that we need to train our teachers. And so that's also a focus, training teachers on curriculum that is culturally responsive. Under DEI training, all buildings in conjunction with the Diversity Center will work to begin, we'll work with the staff by first surveying the staff, then follow that up with discussions with the staff, and then the next steps will be planning with the staff. And then expanded DEI focus, all campuses will create a welcoming and inclusive environment for students, staff, and families, building relationships that focus on kindness, inclusion, and bullying prevention. Both the high school and the middle school will also focus on the LGBTQ plus and other marginalized students. And then Lincoln will also focus on conscious discipline and second step curriculum.
Good evening. I'm Dawn Bestetter. I'm the principal at Abraham Lincoln School. And I'm going to finish out the diversity, equity, and inclusion goals for all of the schools. Our fourth goal is our Tier 1 PBIS. We have found that we've been implementing PBIS for a while in the district, but it kind of is stagnant. And so we have worked on increasing the fidelity of our PBIS system. When we looked at everything across the building levels, we found from doing the tiered fidelity inventory that there are some gaps, especially when it comes to the family and the community piece. So at the end of the year, we completed, at the end of last year, the fidelity inventory, and we identified those areas that we need to focus on. And each building is charged with demonstrating a 20% increase in the Tier 1 PBIS implementation. based on the tiered fidelity inventory. For staff wellness, we know that this is an area that needs a lot of focus. Things have been difficult the last few years, and just making sure our staff is in a good place also helps our students. And so this is also a focus of all of the buildings in the district. By the end of September, our goal is for each building to have a staff wellness plan and implementing that plan, and it will be measured on a quarterly basis. And for discipline, this is another area that touches all of the buildings in the district. And our focus this year is on restorative practice. And the goal is to reduce the number of exclusionary discipline practices across the district by 10%, which really means to decrease our out-of-school suspensions and excluding students from school using restorative practices. And that involves the restorative circles and the peer mediation. So that is a goal for all of the buildings in the district. And that concludes our diversity, equity, and inclusion focus for all of the buildings. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, elementary campus, for our diversity, equity, and inclusion portion. Now the middle school is going to come up and they're going to talk about communication and family engagement goals that we've set. So, okay.
Good evening. My name is Vicki Pruitt Sorrells, and I am the principal for Milkovich Middle School. And so I am here by myself, along with, I'm up here by myself, but I feel you all back there. Coretta Scott King said, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." As I present to you the communications and family engagement goals for this year, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas that we all have together. But then as I go through each one of the schools, I will also highlight that you're going to see that there are some themes that are going to run through there, but yet they are also very much targeted to that particular school. The first one is student news. So we're going to go over student news, streamlining technology, the community room, parent technology, and family engagement collaboration. At the elementary campus, it looks like this, that the elementary campus is going to work with the communication director to produce some student voice news for all the district platforms 2 to 3 times a month. Along with that, they will work with the director to reduce the number of communication methods sent out to families. The campus will also communicate to families when the community room is open and functioning. And by the end of the year, the parent technology campaign will be established to ensure all families have knowledgeable access and understanding of how to navigate the technology used in the district as measured by a post-parent technology survey. In the campus, the elementary campus will also promote the importance of family engagement and events with all staff. As we move over to Milkovich Middle School, you will still find the same focus points of student news, streamlining, community room, parent technology, and family engagement collaboration. What is it that you will see when you come to the middle school? Is that you will see the middle school is going to produce student voice news for all district platforms 2 to 3 times a month from September 2022 to May 2023. If you are now following on Facebook or I believe also, well, Facebook, I know, Milkovich, you will find that there's numerous posts that are highlighting what's going on every week at the middle school. You will also see that the middle school will maintain the current use communication tools used for families, staff, and students on a consistent basis all throughout this year. The middle school will also communicate to our families and students when the community room is going to be up and running. and will support the promotion of the campaign, Parent Plus Technology campaign that will take place all throughout this year, and will support the family engagement initiatives and invite the coordinator to come as well to support and to be a presence in the building. Traveling over to Maple Heights High School and ECAC, we again find those six focus points. But here, the high school and ECAC will produce student voice news for all the platforms at least 1 to 2 times a month. They will streamline their communication tools for students, families, other stakeholders, and reduce the number of communication tools by 50% by the end of June of 2023. The high school will communicate to the families and students a resource of the community room, and also how it can provide goods for the room, for the room when they go off for the first semester of school. By the end of the year, the Parent Technology Campaign will be established to ensure all families have knowledgeable access and understanding of how to navigate the technology. And by the end of the year, family engagement, yes, will also be involved, not just with the coming to the events, but will be involved as a part of the conversation that directly impact families as measured by the number of meetings attended and the quarterly family engagement newsletter. So again, I present to you the communications and family engagement for Maple Heights City School District. Thank you.
Thank you so much, middle school. And then rounding out, we have academics. Dr. Pam's, along with the high school assistant principals, will come tackle academics. This one was a little bit heavier, so it required a little bit more help. So they're going to come up and speak. As you've seen the pattern, there's 5 to 6 goals underneath each umbrella. So academics is last, and there's 5 things underneath, and each person will take one. So come on up. Who's first?
Good evening, board. My name is Matthew Bennett. I am one of the assistant principals at the high school, and I'll be discussing the TBTs for all schools here at Maple Heights. Fortunate for me, the goals for the elementary campuses as well as for the middle school is exactly the same. And their goals are for 50% of students to achieve at least 60% accuracy for each standard measured on TBT post-assessment data for tested subject areas. The high school is a little bit different. The high school is based off of, again, looking at some data pre-COVID and then making some of those adjustments. So at the high school, our action plan is specific to each tested subject area, where 30% of algebra students will score at least 60% accuracy on each tested standard. 30% of geometry students will score at least 60% accuracy. 45% of ELA 2 students will score at least 60% accuracy. 65% of American history students will score at least 60% accuracy. 70% of government will score 60% accuracy. And lastly, 45% of biology students will score at least 60% accuracy on each tested standard. At ECAC, by May of 2023, 88% of all students will complete 90% of the academic requirements for graduation as measured by Apex Learning courses, and 100% of seniors will complete all academic requirements for graduation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Zelina M. Pams, and I am going to talk with you about our college and career readiness goals for K through 12th grade. And once again, we see collaboration taking place throughout our goals, starting with the elementary campus, where they're going to utilize the strategic plan that all of us took part in called Left Bank, and use the data from that strategic tool to create their goals and benchmarks for the 2022-2023 school year. And also, along with their plan will include their deliverables and timelines. when you look at Milkovich Middle School, again, there will be connections with the curriculum for students regarding future plans, career choices, and career exploration. Over at the high school and at ECAC, students will be able to work with us to design their college and career pathways framework and expose our students to the career clusters, internships, job shadowing, work-based learning, partnerships and mentors, and dual enrollment. And we want to increase this by June 2023. And just a tidbit about ECAC and what we're doing with our college and career readiness. By the end of the 2022-2023 school year, a college and career ready culture will be established to prepare ECAC students for post-secondary opportunities. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Justin Harris, one of the assistant principals as well at the high school. I'm going to talk about specific interventions we have and goals for ELA and math. So at the elementary campus, the goal is to have 40% of students across K-5 who initially test off track will score on track in the spring. So that's from fall to spring. And also we want no more than 10% of our students going backward, which means they score as on track and they go off track in the spring. So 40% off track to get them on track. This is done through specific intervention logs, literacy logs, intervention groups. What we do is review data, ensure those intervention groups are organized by kid and what their weaknesses are and which standard. And also a big thing, we want to ensure district pacing guide aligns with the MAPS learning continuum. And also a big thing also we focus on is getting teachers to understand that tier 1 interventions, which they can do in class every single day. At the middle school, we want to increase 10% proficiency in math on the fall and spring OST within each grade level from spring 2022 to spring 2023. And how this is done is we have, designed Unified Arts math intervention block. It's for 2 quarters. And what the goal of this is, they create specific assessments which align directly with the interventions they're giving these kids. Not only that, how are they doing on those assessments? Or is it working? Is it not? What adjustments need to be made? So that's 10% in math at the middle school. At the high school, we have, we want our 9th graders, it's Algebra 1, to improve an average of 30% from the fall to spring OST from last year to this year. And we chose 30%. We looked at the data pre-COVID, we were at about 22%. With COVID, we're about 24. So we want to bump it up to about 30. It's a pretty lofty goal, but we feel with the, with algebra intervention courses, we can really reach that goal. This is also done through, specific assessments, what curriculum we're using, what specific lessons are these teachers teaching to the Algebra 1 intervention classes to get these kids to where they need to be to reach that 30%. Thank you.
Hello, Regina Bryant, assistant principal at the high school. My goal that I'm going to speak about tonight is the K-12 curriculum drive. We had this goal last school year, which was to create a curriculum drive where all of our curriculum pacing guides, curriculum mapping would be housed, which we did complete. Now this school year was making sure that all teachers K through 12 can access that curriculum drive, know where it's housed and how to utilize it. So I'll work backwards at the high school and at the middle school, high school, middle school, and ECAC, excuse me. The teacher's responsibility, our responsibility as principals actually was to make sure that all of our teachers can access the curriculum drive, know where it's housed, start utilizing that curriculum drive for all courses offered at the middle school, high school, and at ECAC. K through 8 is a little different. They've been working in the drive for a few years, so theirs is a little bit more enhanced as far as now their curriculum guide is there, their curriculum mapping is there, but now they're going to add resources and tools so teachers can click at go to one spot, click on ideas for lessons, have resources and have tools all housed in one spot. So that's the curriculum drive K through 12.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Meyer. I'm one of the assistant principals from the high school. And while I love all of the other goals that we have touched base tonight, nothing can happen if our students are not physically in the building. So I'm going to go over our attendance goals. So over the last few years, obviously, COVID has caused a deficit in students being in the building. So obviously, a goal is how do we get them back into the building? So overall, all the schools want to increase, obviously, the students in the building, their presence, and reduce the number of chronically absent students that we have. Chronically absent meaning they are missing at least 10% of the school year. So with 184 days or 180 for the students, if they're missing 18 days, they are now considered by the state, House Bill 410, chronically absent. So for the elementary, their collective goal is to improve their student attendance to 90% and to reduce the number of chronically absent students by 35. The middle school, very similar. They want to improve to 90% for attendance and reduce their chronic absenteeism to 45. The high school wants to improve to 87% for attendance and reduce chronic absenteeism to 50. And at ECAC, they want to improve to 85% for attendance and reduce chronic absenteeism to 53%.
Okay, that is all three of our goals, or our overarching goals, being presented by all three grade levels: elementary, middle, and high school. I can share the presentation with everybody if you like, but at this time, if anyone want to have comments, questions, feel free to do so. We're all here to answer those. And again, we can share that presentation with you all if you have questions about anything.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Of course, I do like the way you guys did your presentation this year. I thought it was really nice that you guys worked together as a team, and you showed us that you can work together as a team and come together with a plan for the whole entire district, that everybody is on the same page and thinking what the district can look forward to. I commend you guys for that. I think that is absolutely awesome that you guys did that. I do. Yes, I would like for you to please share this with us.
Okay.
Next time, can you guys share it with us before? So we can go through and read it and be able to align with our questions, that we have something to be able to jot down so we can have some more questions.
Yes, absolutely.
A little hard to be writing and trying to write down exactly what it is that you guys are trying to talk to us for. So it's a little difficult to try to keep up with the notes. My comments are, you guys all stated that, you have these goals that you have set for the district. I just ask that you guys prepare some type of plan by individual building of where you guys are starting at. What is the starting point? So how are we going to be able to look at where you started at and how you are increasing and where you are when you get ready to make your individual plans, the presentations for your building? How are we going to see what you guys are doing and how you making adjustments, how it's affecting your goal, if it's helping you attain it, if you see at the end of the first quarter that is not working and you need to make adjustments, where did you make those adjustments? When did you decide that it wasn't working? If you guys can provide that, that would be a great help for us to see if it's working and how it's working, how you guys made the adjustment.
Okay.
Another thing is for the Student Plus Tech program that you guys have in the middle school, the Student New Voice program. Who's going to be running that program? Who's going to be running that program for the parents to come in? Who's managing that? What are the hours that once you guys get this up and going? How are they going to know that they can come in and what time they can come in? What time if the students are allowed to come in? Who is actually dedicating, if it's volunteers that's going to be there, or if it's students, or if it's a staff and the students, of who is running it. I just need to know a little bit more about the plan.
That the community room you're speaking of?
Room.
Okay. Yeah. So we all had that based off of district goal. Actually, the community room is up and running.
Okay.
If you walk right down here and look to the left, it smells so nice there because you smell all the we have everything: shampoo, conditioner, washing powder, everything. Now it is a little bit different as to who gets to go there. They didn't want it to just us to send out a flyer and say, oh, hey, we have this. And we're supposed to work through our student support coordinators or guidance counselors, or if you know of a student that may be struggling with some things, or if a parent have expressed interest that they may need some things, then actually Miss Angelique Shaw is the person that's over it, our family and community liaison. They make plans with her to come over and get the items that they need, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the daytime for discretion, because people may feel embarrassed to come. So she'll make plans with them to come over here, but it's absolutely, it's already up and running right here. And it's really, really nice. It's right across the hall over there.
And then the student voice news program that you guys, the news, this is like a newsletter.
So it's actually, that's another goal from the district, saying that all the time that everybody won't hear from us. Like when we do the community connections that come out, it's oftentimes what we've said happening. These things will be student voices. So you'll see students actually saying, oh, hi, I went to Columbus to represent for Teacher Academy. This is me saying it. So at all the buildings level, we want to have more student voice, you know, the student voices and not just ours. So that can be a teacher saying, hey, this good thing happened in my class today. This student did this. Can this student come talk to Mr. Harness, who's in charge of communications at our building, or could Gia come over, Miss McCants come over to interview this student? So those are just ways we want to hear from them and not necessarily always just coming from adults. So it's actually the students' voices that you hear.
And are these interviews, short interviews, clips, are these going to be advertised or shown on the monitors throughout the buildings? That's
the plan, to have them shown on social media. If parents are okay with it, it should be going out, on Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, as well as we're working on getting the TVs up in those common areas so they can be shown on a loop there as well. Yes. Yeah, that was actually a part of our goals. Also, we did inventories to make sure that which TVs weren't working and which TVs were not, so that we could, get those things going. So yes, that's a part of that same goal.
And in the absent chronic absent, the plan, when are we gonna get to be able to know the plan for the district of how you're gonna be able to reduce?
So we have two things. There's a district level plan, which has already been presented, but I can give you access to the Google Drive so you guys have that again. But each building also, you heard the numbers were a little bit different.
Yes, I heard the numbers.
And they're different because they used last year's data to see where they were and then set goals to improve. Instead of just saying, let's just all set the same goal, which is silly. If we have different numbers in different places, like ECAC may be different than the K1 building, they need to analyze their own data to come up with their building level goals. But I'll get you the district level ones.
Yeah, I just would like to be able to have this in a format where each of the buildings, where they have their starting points, and then when you guys get ready to go back and present where you guys are, then we can go back and we can look at what you guys started off with. So
okay, and that's the one thing we did do this time. We were actually, make sure we write the goals so that they're smart, so they are measurable. So it's not that we're just talking about things. All the goals that we wrote, we should be able to measure it, whether it's good or bad, like you said. And then, sometimes making adjustments if we see that it's not working, making adjustments there. So every goal that we have there, we should be able to have some sort of measurement by the end of the school year. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going to make one comment. This is something that the board asked for, and I'm proud that the administrators did. These are some words that I wrote down as we're being presented, because the board asked that we have measurable goals, things that we can track, and they want a scorecard that the district will be doing. And when the principals present some data that shows start, finish, and adjustments made, these are some things that are measured quarterly, completed by the end of the school year. 20% increase, 10% targeted, 2 to 3 times a month, 50%, 56% of the students will be at 65% accuracy by June 2023, 40% off track to on track. So all those things, as you hear those things, it is evidence that there is measurable information that are goals. And we do have starting points, although they might not have shared all that. The way we got to those goals is by reviewing starting points. So we'll do a better job of, when the buildings come, to give you exactly what you've asked for. And when we do our district level presentations, again, trying to do a scorecard, and we'll keep evolving that to meet, your needs.
Hey, whoa.
Birthday. No, honestly, please, because I think somebody said it right. It feels different this year. Things are kind of going right. Knock on wood if you see it around you. But just the energy, the dedication from our administrative team down to every person in this organization, I've just seen just a blossoming and just a new awakening. Like, we all was ripped down, tore down by the pandemic. And to see old faces who are still here, as well as the new faces that are continuing on this fight, I just want to say thank you all just for that. Before I got on the board, I was kind of confused because I didn't really understand the vision. I didn't understand what we were doing. You know, I didn't, it was no alignment. And for this presentation to be exactly that, it blows me away. And that's why I'm gonna shut up. Like, it's because leading up till today, we've asked Dr. Keenan, we need all the administrators to come and present. You know, Charlie said, okay, we're gonna give you a calendar when they're gonna come and present, but it's the same goals, right? We're not pivoting from one goal or a left goal. You know, we are sticking to solid goals, and we're using our team and our collective efficacy to be able to say, how do we get better for students? And it's not about, are we perfect, right? If it was perfect, we on a report card, it would be straight A's and everybody would be flourishing. But we know the reality is that we deal with students every day. So, you know, as we continue to think about our goals, think about our kids, right? Put specific kids' names on those boards when we're talking about numbers, because it could be more human and it makes the work more personable. So just to focus for just the strategic plan, and making sure that your goals at the building level is kind of aligned, also advocating for your buildings in that manner, saying, hey, this kind of aligns to what my building needs. Like, this is what best for kids. That's the way that you advocate, and that's the way we all get better. And then if it's not working above that, then you say, hey, board, we got to take a look at this. It's not working. It's not working. We keep telling y'all it's not working. Can we do something different? And then bring those ideas and those recommendations. So I just wanted to say thank you for the committed focus into that. We did have an administrative retreat with central office in regards to, again, just the more broad district levels, whatever we're trying to accomplish district wide. Is none of that matters if it's not happening at the building, right? We talk about DEI at the board table, and we make decisions off of equity, and nobody at the bottom, or the kids don't understand it, the teachers don't understand it, don't really get it, and it's like we're just doing lip service as we always done. So I just think that that's important to mention. So I brought that up is because then we have to figure out, you know, how are we doing HR? How are we doing these other pieces that are so important to making sure our facilities are viable, right? Our curriculum is sound. I'm hearing some of those pieces are a loophole, but again, everybody has to be targeted towards one goal, right? And I think that is the path that we are on. And again, I'm appreciative of that. I have no questions. I wrote a lot of notes. I do think what Roz said about our biggest takeaway, really, again, kind of building the plane as we fly it, is we want to see some sort of like progression or linear historical picture, even as board members. Like I've made a recommendation several times to, like, I want to be able to sit right here at a meeting, pull up a kid discreetly, I ain't gonna put it out in public, to see kids' projections in reading and dig deeper into it, just as a snapshot and example. Sometimes we work different jobs, similar jobs in the field, out the field, but it's nothing human like putting stories to it. I love the student voice ideas because it's something that we've asked for and that we are going to continue to try to figure out, like, how do we get board students to the board table, right? That's even more powerful, right? But it's, again, building a plan as we go and continue to refine and iterate as we go. So I just want to say thank you all for just the committed work, the alignment of the work, the committed focus. And that's it. Thank you all.
Yeah, just to pick back up, that's a great job. The collaboration was seamless. I truly commend the effort that you guys are making it. As our group said, that's what we were looking for, is measurable goals. And it seems like you guys have accomplished that. I guess my question would be, I don't know, that might be for Charlie, is when will we sort of get the sort of step-by-steps to see how things are going?
Checkpoints.
Onto their buildings for checkpoints.
Two layers. If the board is meeting. So one is we'll do a quarterly update. District level goals. We'll talk about that scorecard of what does that look like to show some growth or measurement or things that we're doing differently because things didn't work. And then the other thing that we've done in the past, if you guys want to keep it up, is 6 times throughout the year, we'll have each of the buildings, and we let them get out of the way, like probably in 9 weeks or a little beyond that before we start doing it. and we have them present at a board meeting publicly about their progress. So you'll hear them, give you a detailed explanation of all these things and where they are and some of the adjustments to make. And it'll be more individualized because it'll be one building at a time. So if you guys want that to continue, we'll do that as well.
And we will actually go to their buildings at that time. They don't come here. We go to each school as they present.
One other quick question I had was about the curriculum drive. So I know there are certain schools that we're already using and certain ones that are just getting acclimated with it. So what's the goal to sort of make sure that everyone feels comfortable with that, to turn around time with that?
So we actually wrote that as a district goal because that is important. So we started that work of building the curriculum drive and like, just what is it? It sounds good to say we have it, but we had to make sure people understand that it's here and you can use this to help you design lessons. When you go in, you can get resources from here. You can also actually track assessments here. So it's built all the way out, and that's what we've been working on. And just being transparent, every subject isn't 100% complete, but we have gotten those major core subjects done. And so a new teacher can go in and look and say, okay, I'm teaching Algebra 1 on the first week of school. This is what I'm supposed to have taught. This is what I'm teaching. Here are a few resources that I can use. And then by the end of the week or week 2, this is the midpoint assessment or post-assessment I'm going to be able to give. And that's at every building, K through 12. That's what we're working on. And it takes a little time, but we're making progression on it. So at the start of the school PD days, everybody had to make sure they can access the Google, the drive. Like you have your email, and we even started it at new teacher orientation, actually making sure, because as a new teacher, you just want to know those things. And we are committed also to like recruitment and retaining teachers. And that's one thing that, we want to be able to say, we have support for you and we have these things here. So it's imperative that we get that curriculum drive up and running like that, which is why it's written as a district goal and every building have it. So yes, we are working on that. But to answer that a little bit more, I guess during PD days, teachers are getting the training on that. Like those who need it. Some are good at it, like you said. Some need a lot more training. Some are brand new. But we've designated time on professional development that they have it. And then they can also ask, of course, anybody, the curriculum department or any administrator, if they need support with it. Mm-hmm.
I don't have any questions. I want to say a good job and thank you all. And I just want to apologize for missing the meeting last time. Okay. Again, apologize for that. And again, thank you. And I'll be looking forward to the updates. I did go see some of the principals last week. For ones I didn't, I'll be popping in y'all buildings. Not as I'm trying to get you or anything, just to come introduce myself to new people. If nobody have any other questions, they can leave now. So you don't have to stay here for the rest of the day.
Again, outstanding job. Appreciate all the work that you guys did putting these goals together, making them measurable, and looking forward to tracking some of the success on and making adjustments we need to. So thank you for coming, and principals, you can all leave at this time. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so for the rest of my report for this evening, my recommendations for the board will be 7B, 1 through 10, 7C, 1 through 7, and we're doing the second reading of our policies, D1, which we've done the first reading on last board meeting, and they were reviewed at the board retreat.
You said D1 is just for a second reading?
D1 is the second reading, yes, for policies.
The superintendent gave us 7A, 1 and 2 for information only. He's asking us to approve 7B, 1 through 10, 7C, 1 through 7, and the second reading, the policies D, 1 through 2. May I have a motion to approve, please? May I have a second? Is there any discussions on the matter? If not, can I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Blackwell.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore. Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Girth.
Yes. Motion approved. No, it was just an update. It was just, it had to be some. Okay, now we have visitor participation. If anybody would like to participate in visitor participation, please say your name and your address, please, at the podium.
Hello. Andrea Beeman, president of MOST. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about first, I want to say, welcome back, helping open the school year. So good to see you all healthy and everything. So what I want to talk to you about is just like two incidences. Most will be following like the regular laid out grievance procedure for these two particular incidences. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because the employees in our district, the support staff employees that I know of in particular, are losing confidence in the treasurer's office. These incidents started way before Mr. Scott got here. Like these were some incidents where we had with payroll issues during the time when Mr. Applebaum was here. It happened through the time when Miss Beverly was here too. But the what happened last in our last payday on 26 was something that we can't let continue. There were about 15 that I know of incidences where people were not paid correctly. They either had an overpayment, which Ms. DeCarlo had an underpayment. There's another person who was not on the right steps. She was not paid right. And so, it's like this, like I told you guys a long time ago, people who are support staff members live paycheck to paycheck. It is what it is when in regards to that. But on Tuesday, if you got to get nervous about your money prior to payday, then on Wednesday, well, now you got a lump in your throat because you're kind of nervous. On Thursday, you know what I mean? Now that lump is not here anymore. It's in your gut and in your stomach. You know what I mean? And you have to worry about getting paid. So I will say this, that, Miss Tina Graham, who is our payroll person, she corrected a lot of wrongs that have happened to us in the past. So I wanted you to know that. And everything that happened last week, and I don't exactly know what happened. I know it was a district-wide issue. Okay, I do know that. She did stay, from what I understand, up until 10 o'clock at night to try to get it done. I know she was there, and I also know Miss Esper was here. When I left here about 5:30 because people were still trying to get over and get their money. And everybody else was gone. So I thought, there should have been an all hands on deck, knowing that, folks didn't get their money and stuff. And so, people got their checks like after 6 o'clock, but then this is what you run into, folks who had automatic payments that were already set up, it was past time. The bank is closed, so you can't get your money. You know what I mean? So that is an issue. And then I'm just going to bring this issue up. Several years ago when we had to deal with this creeping calendar issue, you know what I mean? Or it's a creeping calendar, or it's a rolling calendar, or some kind of calendar where you you have 27 pays for a calendar year instead of 26 pays for a calendar year. We dealt with this with Mr. Applebaum. And the most members had to, in the whole district, had to skip a payment. We had to wait 3 weeks, before we got our next paycheck. And so this year, I thought that only happened during leap year. And maybe that was my misunderstanding of it, because leap year doesn't happen until 2024. So that was my misunderstanding of it. But at the end of the school year, when we got our assignment letters, we also received a grid in our letters that also, that spelled out when we would get our pay, when payday would happen. And it was all spelled out. So I got an email from Mr. Scott on the 12th of July saying, we need to discuss the 26 or 27 pays. And so I didn't quite understand that, because I knew we had a letter. So I said, well, let me talk to my executive committee about it, because it was always said to me about, a leap year. So I talked to the executive committee about it. We had a conversation, and we said we wanted 26 pays because that's what our calendar said that we were mailed. And so I said, I did send him back an email that said we would do the 26 pays. But then after going through the whole thing and looking through it, it seems that there should have been a 27 pay issue. Should have been a 27 pays, because that means that we have to not get paid for 3 weeks again. And around about the 4th of July, when, people go out of town and they have, families and stuff like that. But it's just, to me, it's the inconsistency because I felt like the treasurer's office should have known before July about this, before we all got that. You know what I mean? It's just, it's these things that people have lost confidence. And Mr. Scott and I had conversations about it, but I knew that the teachers union had been, they had been addressed about this first prior to most being, addressed about it. So it's like, if the larger group doesn't do it, then the smaller group, you just got to do what it is. A lot of people in most cannot wait those 3 weeks, but I guess it's gonna have to be what it is. You know what I mean? But it just speaks to the larger issue of there not being any consistency in what's going on. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. I'm really, I tried for years not to have to come and talk to you about the issues of people not being paid correctly, because I did try to work it out. I had tons of informal conversations. I had tons of them. But now that I think that, we have a new treasurer who is here, that I think that, we need to go further to do what we could do to make sure that, people are paid correctly and they get their checks on time. And that's all I want to say.
Hello, my name is Terry Esper, and I'm an administrative assistant with the district.
Need your address. You can use this.
Oh,
this
I'm
building or
I'm in this building, the Board of Education, 5740.
yeah,
on
just you can use
Avenue.
this address, but you just need to state the address, okay?
Okay, sorry. The reason I came here tonight was to talk about we're having a bonus going out for all of the, most of the district, except for one group. And unfortunately, I'm thrown in with that one group. And so what I was here to say was that there's several administrative assistants and secretaries that are considered administration, although we're more support staff than administration. And I was hoping that we could do something about this oversight regarding the bonus.
Are you all considered administrators?
We have an administrative contract. We don't go to administrative functions or anything like that. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Anybody else would like to address the board? If not, we'll be going into executive session. Oh, no, we have other board action. We need to appoint as a delegate. Is this for a Capitol conference? Have you been to it before? Is it just a regular?
Yeah, I've been.
Just a regular meeting?
It's a meeting that you have to go to attend any issues that arise on the contracts and the policies for OSBA. And so you have to be able to vote.
I'll go. And Jalen, since you're vice president, would you go if I can't, sir? Oh, in Rochester. Yeah, we know she's gonna speak up. So yeah, definitely. I'll
Positive. That's a positive comment. Okay.
yeah, I'll be in then. If not, we'll let Ms. Moore go as alternative. So can we have a motion to approve 7-9A? So have a second.
Second.
Any conversation on this? If not, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Motion approved. Now we'll be going into executive session to discuss legal and personnel. May we have a roll call, please?
So moved.
I'm sorry. I'm so bad. Have a motion, please. Second. Ma'am.
Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, the time is now 7:01 and we are now in executive session. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm dismissing people. Are you have some people stay? Charlie? Are you having anybody stay?
Yeah, Tawana's gonna stay.
Okay.